Hi, I'm Joel, a white kid that grew up in Indonesia. I'm interested in the unvarnished look, an examination of the driving force for art. In this series, I'm going to explore the relationship between places, the place you leave to the place you go, and the place that develops in between. That third space can be a strange and wonderful fusion, a hybrid for creative magic. These conversations will hopefully develop a composite picture of a third culture artist who has straddled multiple worlds and how that influences their expression through art.
But how about this? Is this still recording?
Just introduce myself.
Hi, welcome to Third Heat, the show.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, good.
Who am I? Yeah. My name is Missy D. I'm a hip hop, rap, and soul artist based in Vancouver on the land of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam peoples. I make music for the people, for love, for hope, and other things that people feel when they listen to my music. That was too long, but cut it short.
No, it's perfect. I think it was great. How I found it.
We're off to a great start. Today, I'm excited to talk with Missy D, a talented hip-hop artist hailing from Vancouver. Now, when I say hailing, I use air quotes because Missy D is from many places, but she's been residing in Vancouver for quite some time now. Before we sat down for our interview, Missy D and I had a phone chat, and I gotta say, we connected on several topics. As a third culture person myself, I understand the challenges and triumphs that come with that identity. And that's what we're gonna explore today, those common stories that so many of us can identify with. So sit back, grab a beverage or snack, and let's dive into the world of Missy D, a talented artist, a fellow third culture person, and hopefully a kindred spirit.
So tell me, you were born in Rwanda,
Yes.
but you moved to
Ivory Coast.
And
Zimbabwe.
And then Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Was that in that order?
Yes, it was in that order. Born in Rwanda, didn't grow up there. Moved directly to Ivory Coast, and was raised there for I want to say good 7 years, and then lived in Montreal for a year actually, and then from Montreal went to Zimbabwe. Later 8 years of my life.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did high school in Zimbabwe.
I did high school and middle school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And a little bit of I guess it's primary school.
Yeah.
But it was all in French for the first couple of years and then switched to English in the later years.
Cool.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you moved to Canada?
When I moved to Vancouver, I was 18.
18.
Yeah.
So did you go to school?
I went to school. I attended UBC, trying to study a Bachelor of Science. And completed that. Did a combined major in science, studied statistics, life sciences, environmental science. Wanted to be a doctor, and not a doctor right now.
So is there, from your family background, culturally, is there a like pressure to pursue a higher education, like that's something like a doctor or engineer?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm also the baby of the family, so
Okay.
I feel like I'm living after the rest of my siblings, and they've achieved great things, and they
Okay.
studied, and it was like, hey, what are you gonna do? And then my dad was a doctor, so it was also like maybe one of his kids is gonna become a doctor, and I wanted to be a pediatrician since I was 13.
Oh yeah.
So it was a big goal for a long
Yeah.
time, but after my first year of university, I was like, there's other things calling me. I want to still do science. I've always done this music thing, and somehow music has surpassed the pediatrician dream, I guess.
I think I read on some press from your website that you have some family in Canada,
Yeah.
but also back home.
Yeah, I have some family kind of all over the world a little bit, but like I guess my direct, like, intermediate family is like, my immediate family is in Montreal,
Yeah.
Quebec, and then my mom and my brother live in Ivory Coast, and
Cool.
then I have like my extended family in Rwanda, Zimbabwe, all sort of around Africa.
How do you deal with isolation? And especially when it relates to your how it relates to your creative mind.
I think that's always been the thread. Like when I think of how I deal with isolation, it's been the way that music has been the way I connect back to my motherland or to the people I have in my life. It's very present. That's why I was like, oh yeah, that's a constant thing that keeps coming back as you're away from family. Things are happening, changes are happening. I lost my dad a couple years ago. That
sorry to hear that.
affected as well, like sort of dealing with grief, but like distance grief, or like you're not there and things are happening and conversations are being like family members are being affected, I want to say,
Yeah.
by the daily. But then music has been sort of my key to checking in, being like, hey, I went back home this December and was like, hey, what are people listening to in Ivory Coast? Like, what's the trend? What's the news?
Yeah.
I talked to like the hairdresser and I was like, yeah, tell me, school me on like the new dances.
Yeah.
And that was my way of like, oh, okay, I'm picking up a little bit of what I left behind through arts and culture. And then being here, that's my way of like expressing that loneliness or that isolation in the lyrics, in the songs, constantly, because it's my journaling is music, I want to say.
Let's talk about music. The early stages.
I want to say the summary that I usually give to people is back when I was 11, we were studying the recorder in class. It's a big thing you do in French schools. Yeah, classic, dude. I mean, like you had to learn that to get through the next music lesson, and our class was a lot. Like shout out to our teacher who dealt with our class, because we were very much like rebels and like spoke back and everything and talked back to him. And in one of those classes, we were asked, like, we pleaded our case, or like one student pleaded the case, like, this is not relevant to us. We need to learn something that's relevant to us. You need to change your music lessons. And he actually listened and created this whole curriculum about hip hop for a couple of months. And we learned the history of hip hop.
Very cool.
Like all the elements. And the assignment at the end of the year was to write a rap. Like everybody had to get in a group, pick a like beat, get on stage and write a rap. And I used to write poetry. Always loved music. But I got on that stage that day and like something happened. That's what I call like the birth of Missy D. Bing. Yeah. The birth of Missy D. And I wish I had like a video of it, but it changed my life. Like that moment changed the rest of my life. And people called me Missy Elliott because like Missy Elliott was a big deal. So Missy D came out of that, and my parents call me Dee Dee.
Yeah.
So I joined the names together, and I was like, hey, maybe I could do this hip hop thing and continue doing the talent shows every year, switch schools, learn a whole new language. Came with this rap thing, and then came to Vancouver. Actually wanted to like get that behind. Yeah. But it followed me here too. So cool. Yeah.
When you moved to Canada, you were 18. You went to university right away?
Yeah.
Yeah? So you've been in Vancouver for quite a while now. Like, do you consider this like your home now? Kind of?
Yeah, no, for sure.
I know we talked on the phone, like, when someone goes, where are you from? You're like, do you want the long answer or the short answer? And you kind of have to feel out the person.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, it's been 12 years now, so I think now out of all the cities in my life, like when I give my intro, Vancouver is the city I've lived the longest in. Yeah. Like that's, even to me, is like, that's a weird script. That's a weird part of the script of like, that's the city I've lived the longest in, but I'm not born here. I'm not raised here. But now it's been sort of my home for the past 12 years, and I'm grateful for it.
So when you travel back, do you feel a sense of guilt that you're losing maybe some of your home culture because of being here for such a long period of time? Do you ever feel that?
Yeah, I think I've always felt guilt. Yeah. I think every time I've moved, because, part of adapting so easily, you then suddenly become, I don't know about you, but I feel like I easily detach myself. Like it was easy to say goodbye to my friends over time because I was doing that a lot, or I was moving schools. So you kind of have the muscle in you. You're like, okay, I guess I got to flex this muscle again. See y'all, write in this book, love you, we're going to be friends forever. Yeah. And then we meet again 10 years later and we're like, I feel like we're still in grade 10. It's like, we're still there. But there's that guilt of like, you're losing a bit of yourself. And when I look at my lyrics even, I'm always talking about belonging, like feeling like I don't belong. Like in a room full of people, there's still something in me. There's still this insecurity from a young age that I'm like, I don't really belong here. I'm like, I'm an imposter. So yeah.
Do you think that feeling of needing to belong, does that fuel your, like when you're performing? Because I find I have a hard time being on the dance floor. but I love being behind the decks. How about for you when you're on stage?
I think it's a little bit of that for sure. I feel, people when they see me, when they first meet me, like through a performance, they're like, "Oh, you're so extroverted. You've got this big personality. You're sort of holding the broom. I'm telling you to put your hands up, to sing with me." It's a whole community sort of gathering, which for me connects back to belonging. I want to make sure everybody feels like they belong in this
Yeah.
moment. Like, yeah, you don't really sing all the time, but in this moment, I'm gonna teach you a few things, and you're gonna end up singing, and it's cool. And even I'm surprising myself because as soon as I get off, I'm back to like sort of an outgoing introvert. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'll talk to one person. I don't want to talk to a lot of people. So there's something that happens where, yeah, it's like a superpower where it just kicks in
Kicks
as soon
in.
as like the beat drops. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, maybe I can share a little bit more of myself. Maybe I can be vulnerable and
Yeah.
I'm not overthinking as much.
Yeah.
I want to say when I'm on stage. I think that's when you like, I think that's like the gift of being that third culture kid sometimes is that you're kind of shape shifting at times.
Social
Like, yeah,
chameleon.
socially, yeah, like
Yeah.
exactly. You might go, when I go to the market in Ivory Coast for sure. Like, there's a way you're gonna talk to show the locals that like I've been here.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I went to the market to buy
Yeah.
like gifts for my friends, and yeah, if you act like a tourist, yeah, the price is gonna go up. Where I'm not from Ivory Coast, so
Yeah.
what I need to do is show that I know some lingo that
Yeah.
is from Ivory Coast. So they're like, oh, she's a local. Like I can't be giving
Yeah.
her the tourist price. I might be going to South Africa soon, and I'm like, oh, like I feel I'm gonna tap into like the southern parts of my way of being, the pace, the way people talk, the way people. It's like it's culture as a whole, not just like language, but just there's ways to navigate and like go through that experience when you're there or when you're around people from that region.
Music intermission. Jam session.
How long have you been recording as a professional artist?
I would say to answer your question, I think I've been recording as a professional artist for the past 6 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be like, okay, that's stuff that's been put out to the public, gone to the studio.
Exactly.
Do you have a producer that you prefer to work with, or have you switched around, or do you produce your own?
Yeah, for the past 6 years, I've been working with the same producer. Actually, this upcoming project that I'm working on will be the first time I work with other producers, multiple producers, perhaps. Like I've worked with producers as well on like YouTube, on BeatStars, and
Yeah.
other parts of like platforms. But it's always been with his name is David Tallarico, so he's like been my buddy for quite some time, and
Cool.
we've been like we sort of co-produce sometimes where I'm like, hey, I hear this melody.
Yeah, yeah,
Do
yeah.
you know how to play this? Can we find this rhythm? Or I'm feeling like I want to give it a bit more Afro beats, and then we kind of cook up something together. But he's been my right hand for quite some time.
When you're writing a song and you need to be, actually, no, let me rephrase that. How do you motivate yourself?
Oh, you're asking deep questions, bro.
Yeah.
Like, great. How do I motivate myself
When you're writing?
when I'm writing?
Because I would say, just to put it into context,
Yeah.
I don't mind being like a little bit. I'm not being able to move around,
Yeah.
like say go to a coffee shop with a laptop, headphones, no problem. But sometimes at the end of the day, I just love being in a well-designed room with like very very flat speakers and then sitting there and engineering,
Yeah.
and then I'm way more productive in that setting. But sometimes if I just want, then it's a coffee shop or.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Yeah, I think like it depends on the writing that's about to happen. Like like there's sometimes you don't have like you have intrinsic motivation. It just happens, and yeah, you're by the coffee shop, an idea pops in, and you're like, yo, I want to write this, and you go into it, pull out a pad, and start writing, or put out your phone. When I need external motivation in some way. I feel like my friends do that for me. My band does that for me.
Okay.
Like being around people that want to have conversations. Like I could sit like this,
Yeah.
same, and have this interview, and suddenly, a topic will come up, and I'll be like, hey, like, what if we talked about motivation a lot?
Yeah.
And then, the song kind of writes itself. Then if I'm having more of, let's say, a more therapeutic writing session, then the motivation is trying to make myself feel better. That becomes like the thing that's gonna allow me to finish writing the song. And often that's how I write my fastest songs. It's
Okay.
like me just purging out what I need to purge out,
Yeah.
and then I'm like, oh, the song is done. Like
Yeah.
I finished the song, and it took me 20 minutes, or
Yeah.
it takes me 4 hours.
How do you connect a lyric to a melody? When does that happen?
When is that in the writing process? Often it starts from the lyric, like I want to say, or like no, it starts from the melody, because I react to the beat as well, or I
Okay.
react to what I'm about to say, or sometimes the hook comes first. So
Okay.
the melody of the hook, and I'm noticing, okay, like this is a more hopeful tone. Okay, maybe this song is not just about how sad I am right now, but it's also
Right.
about like how we're gonna get through this moment and whatsoever. And then the lyrics kind of pop up
Cool.
throughout the song, or I start with a theme, and then the theme goes with the words. Like I'm just like, okay, we're gonna talk about this.
So I read in an interview that you had that some of your major influences are like Erykah Badu, India Arie, J. Cole, Missy Elliott, Lauryn Hill, all that. And one of the things that I find was a common thread with a few of them is that my favorite producer, or one of my favorites, is Jay Dilla.
Yeah.
And so when I was listening to your music, I noticed that like how do you pronounce it? Case Depart?
Yeah, Cas Départ. Yeah, that's a J Dilla beat.
Case Depart?
Yeah, Cas Départ.
Case Depart.
Cas, like imagine a Z. Cas.
Okay, Case Depart.
Yeah.
Okay. That kind of had a little bit of that feel to it.
Yeah, good year.
Yeah.
Literally, the beat is like Dilla type beat.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Because it's funny because my introduction to hip hop was more through trip hop, because I liked a lot of trip hop in the 90s, and there's a band called Crustacean. Jay Dilla did a remix of Crustacean. It's called Purple. It's the Jay Dilla remix, and I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And then I just went down a rabbit hole of
Yeah.
This was about like 15 years ago, and anyway, so I'm gonna list a few of your tracks
Yeah.
that you have music videos of. Cool Down, Case Depart,
Yeah.
Rollin', Paint, Yes Mama. Can you give me a story of the shoot that was the most fun or interesting, or like something that what was the most fun? Which was the most fun to like? Which was the most fun one to do?
The video I'm the most proud of, or I have fun watching it, is Yes Mama, because like to me it's like poetic that it came back to the roots of the song, where we were initially we had a grant, we're gonna do a big production
Yeah.
for it, and then the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And then we had to like kind of move back in our plans, and we're like, hey, what are we gonna do instead? And what do we do with these funds that we have, but also like we need to put this song out before Mother's Day, or like on Mother's Day. And I was like, well, I wrote the song because like, being a third cultured kid,
Yeah.
my relation with my mom often is with my phone.
Yeah.
And like often, when you're having these conversations with your parents, you're like, yes, mom, like blah blah, like yeah, you're saying this and I don't agree with what you're saying. But
Yeah.
months later I was like, yo, she was so right about this situation. Okay, like I gotta celebrate her. And then
Yeah.
the video is just
Allô,
like
maman?
my friends
Salut,
sitting
ça
down with
va?
their parents or their
Ouais, ça va,
guardians,
ça
their
va.
loved
J'ai
ones,
besoin de te parler un petit peu.
mothers who passed away, and like kind of honoring their lives and being like, hey, like let's celebrate these matriarchs that have made us who we are today. And I was like, wow, okay, that's the core, that's the heart of the song. We did it, guys.
That's really cool.
And like told like the directors, like, don't worry, we didn't do the whole production we had in mind, but the heart of the song is in the video.
Oh, you know what song I love?
Yeah.
The Back and Forth.
Oh, you like back and forth.
Okay,
Tell
so I really like that one because I love how they treated the piano.
me. Nah.
Yeah, it's really heavily distorted,
Yeah.
but so it almost sounds a bit like a Hammond or like a Rhodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like that piano.
Yeah. Like, I think, you talked about Dilla. I feel like I always joke around to my friends, like, when I'm 50, I'm going to be a jazz singer. Like, we're going to flip the script. Like, I'm going to stop doing, or not do as much hip hop and get into my jazz bag of things.
Yeah.
And I feel like the music that I do when we're producing music, there's a bit of that comes into play where I'm like, oh, I want to do a bit of blues. I want to jazzify this beat a little bit so
It's
that
there.
people know that these are the influences that are making me who I am, or add a little bit more Afro beats. Like Petit Pas has like a bit like more Afro beats into it, and like see where it comes to. And then like now that I'm working on this new project, I'm like, oh, let me go find somebody who's really into this type of beat, or really identifies as a producer with this type of beat, and then create with them and see what we come up. So I'm excited.
How do you deal with procrastination? Do you procrastinate?
Yeah.
Is it hard to get motivated? My philosophy has changed a lot because one thing that hasn't changed.
Yeah.
One thing that's always changed is that I'm like, do something. Because doing something, if I sit and wait for creativity or inspiration to happen, it happens way less than if I've already started something and I'm pushing through a little bit. Like just doing something leads to inspiration, and inspiration then cascades more.
Yeah.
How about for yourself?
Oh yeah, similarly, like I think making time.
Yeah.
Like I need to make time for it, because somehow time becomes none of my best friend at times, and I'm like, oh, when am I gonna be able to write? When am I gonna be able to do things? Procrastination shows up for me as like writer's block. Like I feel like I have no more content to share. I have no more stories. I've already told my introduction. It's done. Like that I'm from these different countries. What else can I say about my life, or what else do I want to share with people? And then I get stuck. So I don't know if it's procrastination perhaps, but it's just like I feel stuck and I don't know how to move past that moment. But like what I noticed, like doing that little like small actionable step of like, hey, today I'm gonna listen to a beat, or I'm gonna make a beat, or for 10 minutes. If I write 2 words, if I go into my phone, if somebody steals my phone, they're gonna hear like random voice notes, or I'm like, oh, okay, here, this melody sounds nice.
Yeah.
Write to it later. That's a win.
Cool.
If I make like 2 hours of I have a Friday where sometimes I have free time. I make 2 hours where I'm like, it's music work. I even tell my mom, I'm like, oh, today I'm doing music work. And people will be like, what are you doing? It's like, whether it's sending emails to a bunch of different people, whether it's grant writing, whether it's writing songs, like I really want to, like music is hard work. Music is a business. And like that's the biggest discovery that I've had over the past few years of making music is like, this is hard work. If you really want to keep going and sustaining it, then you're going to have to put in some work, and you won't be able to procrastinate. Yeah.
Very cool. How about you? We've talked about your the third culture kid aspect. How would you describe your third culture to someone else? Like, how would you describe the marriage of your Vancouverisms and your Africanisms?
How would I describe it?
Is it possible?
Yeah, like I've never really thought about it. It's just me. Like I think I'm a representation of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a definition or way to describe it to people. I feel it's inspired my values, is what I would say. I don't know if there's a specific thing about Ivory Coast that I could say that is me or so on, but there's values that I've taken from each of these, or that I have not even taken, that have been shared from all these different places I've lived that really have made me who I am today. And when I talk to my mom, I'm like, yo, I really, when I went back to Ivory Coast this December, I was like, I love how like this I don't know, hustle mentality that people have, this confidence that Ivorians have, that like it's different in Rwanda, like it looks different. But then Rwanda also has its own qualities that have made me who I am. Zimbabwe has its own qualities that have made me who I am. And then you add Vancouver to it, and then you're bound to get a version of me or Missy D that's like, yeah, inclusion is important, diversity is important, representation is important, belonging is important, communication is important, having conversations with people to be like, yo, you're more than just this one idea of dude with glasses lived in Indonesia and so on. Like, it's like you have to sit down with people and really get to know them. So that's the marriage of these cultures that made me.
That third space is, to me, I think even in the title of the show, when I'm introducing it, I talk about it being confusing and awesome at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, and I think you said it well. Like, I think you answered it almost without even like the description.
Yeah.
Like, basically what I got was like, I am the third space.
Oh, yeah.
That's who I am. I am the third space.
Yeah.
I think that's a good definition.
Okay, I'm gonna stick to that. I'm gonna stick to that. That's my answer.
Yeah.
I've been working on kind of marrying these different identities that I have, whether it's half of my life has been in French, half of my life has been in English. So how do I become this bilingual artist? Like, what does that look like? So last year I dropped like my first French EP, and now I'm like, okay, do you keep doing French EPs and like that's it, or do we make a full French EP, no English at all? Kind of debating identities once again, and the answer that I've come up with and what's coming up next is like, ooh, I'm gonna give people both, and it might be 2 albums, it might be 2 projects, it might be one song is French, one song is English, and you go back and forth and see how you relate to that. But I feel I don't want to choose. I hate choosing. I'm just like biggest flaw, indecisive at all times. So I don't want to choose these identities, these languages that I love. I just want to showcase them. So that's what's coming up.
If you had one piece of advice for a up and coming artist or an artist that wants to get into the music industry, what's one of your biggest takeaways from your life?
My biggest takeaway or advice for an upcoming artist would be get to know yourself. Get to know yourself. Get to know your purpose, like why you're doing this and why you want to do this, and get to know the how. Like, how are you going to do this? Like, with who? Like, the people who are going to support you. And if you can add up and define all these different questions, I feel you stand a good chance of creating the path you want to be on. It might not look like the next artist or another artist, but it's going to be your own path. And I don't know, as an artist, that's what we all chase, like our own sound, our own version of artistry. So that'd be my advice.
If you were to add something to what you're getting through the purpose of this conversation is, what would you add?
Ooh. I mean, how can I bring to Vancouver who I am? And I feel like people can find that in my music. And often when I talk to people who listen to my music, they'll say like, oh, I feel like I know you better. So once again, the music acts as this voice, as this bridge, as this thread to showcase who I am in that third space.
Cool.
Yeah.
Missy is remarkable. In under 30 minutes, she managed to reveal a whole lot about herself. Introspective, always learning, a musician, a writer, and a third culture artist. But what really caught my attention is her positivity. Despite facing her fair share of obstacles, Missy D is a shining example of joy and hope. In a society that often emphasizes the negative, Missy D's sunny outlook is a breath of fresh air. She reminds us that we have the power to choose our perspective, no matter what life throws our way, and for that, we can all learn a thing or two from Missy.
Does that look okay? Yeah? Okay, good. Awesome. Fake it till you make it.
That's it.